Welcome to our deep dive into the world of category kings.
Okay.
We're going to be exploring excerpts from this book called Play Bigger.
Hmm.
It's by Al Ramadan, Dave Peterson, Christopher Lochhead, and Kevin Manny.
Right.
And we're going to be looking at what makes companies kind of explode onto the scene and stay on top, just as importantly, not just a flash in the pan. What's fascinating about this book, and I'd love to get your take on it, is that it goes beyond just having a good product or service.
Yeah.
It argues that the most successful companies, they create these entirely new categories and then they dominate them and they become so synonymous with the problem that they're solving that they're basically impossible to dislodge almost.
Yeah. What's fascinating about this book is it really moves beyond traditional business strategies, just arguing that you need to have a better product or a better service.
Right.
What they're saying is that the most successful companies actually create new categories and then they dominate that category.
Yeah. Right.
So they don't just create a great product, they create and dominate that whole category, which makes them almost impossible to unseat, like you said.
Right.
They become synonymous with that problem.
Yeah, and they become so synonymous with that problem.
Right.
And the authors use a really interesting historical example, Clarence Birdseye.
Yeah.
Who gave us Birdseye frozen foods, right?
Oh, yeah.
Frozen food, frozen peas, frozen, you name it.
Right.
And his story, Birdseye's story, is a great example of how category creation, it goes beyond just developing a product, right?
Yeah, that's a great point.
He didn't just invent frozen food. He created a whole ecosystem.
Exactly. He didn't just invent frozen food. He had to create a whole ecosystem for frozen food to exist.
Yeah.
So you think about things like freezer cars for railroads to transport the food, freezer cases for grocery stores to display it.
Right.
He even pushed for the invention of cellophane for packaging. So he realized, I can't just invent this thing. I need a whole ecosystem to support it.
Yeah.
So he built the whole category.
It's funny because we think about frozen food today. It's so ubiquitous.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. He had to build this whole thing from the ground up, from scratch.
Exactly. And that's a great example of category creation going beyond just product development.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to think bigger.
That's such a great point. I'd never thought of it like that. It's easy to just focus on the product itself.
Right.
But Birdseye, he shows us that you need to consider the whole experience, the need,
Right.
the solution, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another critical element of category creation is timing.
Right.
The authors use the example of Scient, a company that perfectly timed its entry into the market
Okay.
with their e-business systems innovator tagline during the dot-com boom of the late 90s.
Oh, yeah.
They captured a very real need at just the right time.
Yeah, but timing isn't everything, is it? Because, take Jawbone, for instance.
Yeah.
They created, I think, not one, but 3 new product categories.
Yeah.
But they failed to really capitalize on any of them. How is that possible?
Yeah.
How do you, invent 3 new categories and just fall flat?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Jawbone is actually a classic example of having the innovation, but not the category design.
Okay.
They had great products, they had great innovations,
Right.
but they didn't effectively define or develop the categories that they had created.
Right.
So they weren't able to connect in the minds of consumers, hey, we are the solution to this problem that you have, even though they had, like I said, groundbreaking products.
So it's not just about being first, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's about shaping that perception, about owning the problem,
Exactly.
and really hammering home why you and only you are the solution.
Right.
And that's where, I guess, a strong point of view, or POV as the book calls it, comes in.
Yeah, POV is extremely important.
Yeah.
The book really hammers this home, the importance of a strong POV, because it's not just a catchy slogan.
Right.
It's the entire narrative that explains the problem, the solution, and why your approach is unique.
Right.
And to illustrate this point, the authors share a hilariously bad example of a POV statement.
Oh, yeah.
Just to kind of show you, here's what not to do.
Yeah, yeah. I remember this. It was filled with so much jargon,
Yeah.
and these vague promises. It was basically meaningless.
It was completely meaningless.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect contrast to a strong POV.
Right.
Like the one Salesforce used in their no software campaign.
Oh, yeah.
They position themselves as kind of like these rebels fighting against traditional clunky software.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah.
Businesses were looking for simpler, more flexible solutions, and Salesforce was right there with the answer.
What I thought was so fascinating about that is that they didn't just say they were better, they actually challenged the entire way the industry operated at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
It was so bold and clear and attention grabbing, and they like staked to their claim.
Absolutely. They staked their claim.
And I guess once you have that strong POV, it's about getting everyone on board and mobilizing your entire organization
Right.
for this concentrated lightning strike, right?
Yes.
To really grab attention and announce your arrival.
Exactly. You need to mobilize all your resources for a concentrated effort, kind of like a lightning strike, to announce your category and really capture attention.
And the story of Sensity and like their launch at Lightfair International, that is such a perfect example of this lightning strike, I think.
I think so too. It's a brilliant example.
Yeah.
So Sensity, this was a small company.
Right.
They had a tiny little booth at this massive industry convention.
Right.
But they managed to snag a front page story in the Wall Street Journal on the very first day of the convention. Yeah. They positioned themselves as leaders in this brand new space.
Wow.
Talk about a power move.
That is, I mean, it's just, it shows you, how important it is to be strategic and creative and bold.
Absolutely.
They really made a splash.
Yeah.
But the work doesn't stop there, right?
No, not at all.
Category kings, they're constantly kind of expanding their category's potential, right?
That's right. You got to keep moving, got to keep growing.
I mean, think about Facebook.
Yeah.
They started on college campuses.
Yeah.
Then they went to high schools. Then the whole world,
Right.
They kept pushing the boundaries of what their category could even be.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the reasons why they've had, so much growth.
Thanks, Phil.
So how do you actually sustain that growth? Like,
Yeah.
it's not enough to just have a good idea
Right.
and, make a big splash. You need some sort of mechanism, I think, to keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
And that's where the category flywheel comes in, I guess, right?
The category flywheel. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
So can you explain that? Like, what is a category flywheel?
Yeah. So the category flywheel is this fascinating concept where different parts of a company's strategy, they all reinforce each other,
Okay.
creating this incredible momentum for growth.
So it's like a self-perpetuating cycle.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a self-perpetuating cycle.
So give me an example. Like, how does a flywheel actually work in the real world?
Sure. The most obvious example is Google.
Okay.
So Google's flywheel is powered by users and data.
Okay.
More users means more searches,
Right.
which leads to more data, which feeds their algorithms and makes their search results even better.
Mm-hmm.
So better search results attract more users, which leads to even more data, which further improves the algorithms,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. It's this constant cycle of growth.
Yeah.
More users lead to more data,
Mhm.
leading to better algorithms.
That's a great analogy. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering more and more snow as it goes.
Exactly. Exactly.
But it's not, it's not a guaranteed path to success, right?
Right.
I mean, even category kings can falter if they're not careful.
Of course.
Take Microsoft, for instance.
Right.
We were talking about them before. They became so focused, on one category,
Yep.
PC software, and they completely missed like the massive shift in the market
Yeah, they did.
towards the, things like cloud computing and mobile devices.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? You
Well,
know?
Microsoft's story is a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
It shows the importance of staying agile, being able to recognize when the potential of your category is starting to plateau.
Okay.
They became so dominant in PC software, like you said,
Yeah.
that they didn't recognize the shift that was happening towards cloud computing and mobile.
Yeah.
And by the time they tried to catch up, other companies had already established their own flywheels in those spaces.
It's almost like they became a victim of their own success.
In a way, yes.
It's a reminder that you can never really afford to become complacent, even when you're at the top of your game.
Right.
You have to be adaptable, always looking for those new opportunities.
Absolutely.
And the book highlights this this tension. Actually, it's
Yeah.
like between it calls them harvesters,
Yeah.
who are those who focus on like maximizing profits from existing categories,
Right.
and category creators
Mm.
who are always searching for that next big thing.
Exactly. And it's those category creators who usually build those truly legendary companies.
Yeah.
The ones that reshape industries and really change the world.
It's like they're not content with the status quo.
Right.
They're always looking for those new problems to solve,
Yeah.
those new markets to conquer.
Absolutely.
Amazon, Google, like prime example.
Yeah, great example.
They've shown this like remarkable ability to not only dominate those initial categories, but to create entirely new ones as well.
Right, like Amazon Web Services, for instance.
Yeah.
Or Google Maps.
They're not just content, like, with just being the best.
Right.
At what they do, they're constantly looking to, like, push the boundaries and solve these new problems.
Exactly.
So that's what makes them so fascinating, you know?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about how companies can become these category kings.
Right.
But what about individuals?
Yeah.
I mean, can a person be a category king?
That's where it gets really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
The book argues that, anyone can apply these principles to their own careers.
Okay.
It's not just about climbing the corporate ladder.
Right.
It's about becoming a category king in your own right,
Okay.
defining your unique value proposition, and becoming the go-to person in your particular area.
So it's almost like thinking of yourself as a company, like building your own personal brand.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
So how do you even create your own personal category?
Well, it starts with figuring out who your target audience is.
Okay.
Just like a company, you need to know who you're trying to reach.
Right.
So what companies or industries do you want to work for? Once you've identified your target audience, you need to craft a compelling narrative.
Okay.
That explains why you are the perfect solution to their needs.
So instead of just listing like skills and experience on a resume,
Right.
it's about framing them in a way that shows that you really understand their challenges.
Exactly.
And you can like actually deliver value, right?
Yeah.
It's like writing a resume that's more than just a list of bullet points.
Exactly. It's about telling a story.
Yeah.
About painting a picture of who you are and what you bring to the table.
Right.
You're creating a personal brand that sets you apart.
Yeah.
Makes you stand out from the crowd.
So I guess instead of just listing skills, it's about telling that story.
Yeah.
And, painting that picture of who you are.
Exactly.
And what you bring to the table.
Right. So we've seen how companies can become category kings,
Right.
by identifying that missing in the market, crafting that compelling POV, and mobilizing for that lightning strike launch.
Right.
But what about the nitty-gritty details?
Yeah.
How do you actually put these principles into action?
Yeah. Thankfully, the book provides a really practical framework for category design.
It does.
And it starts with really understanding the category that you're trying to create, right? And that means defining your audience.
Right.
Really getting to know who you're trying to serve and digging into the problem you're solving for them.
The book really emphasizes understanding those use cases.
Yeah.
How people are actually going to interact with your solution and mapping out the whole ecosystem of players involved.
Right.
You need to know who else is out there trying to solve this problem.
Yeah.
And how your approach is different.
Right.
It's like an archaeological dig almost.
I love that analogy.
Uncovering all the layers and connections.
Yeah. And once you've done all that digging,
Yeah.
that's when you craft that killer POV, right?
Right.
But it's not just about coming up with a catchy tagline, is it?
Not at all.
No.
The POV is the heart of your category design. It needs to articulate the problem clearly.
Right.
Outline the desired outcome.
Okay.
Explain why your approach is different and better than anything else out there.
Yeah.
It has to resonate on an emotional level,
Yeah.
not just a logical one.
The book suggests thinking of your POV almost like a movie trailer.
Yeah.
Short, impactful, leaving people wanting more.
Right.
You need to hook your audience
Yeah.
and get them invested in your vision.
And then to really make that POV stick,
Yeah.
you need to mobilize your entire organization.
Right.
Every single department, from engineering to marketing to sales.
Okay.
Everyone needs to be aligned
Yeah.
and working towards that same goal.
It all comes back to that lightning strike, right? That concentrated burst of activity
Exactly.
that grabs attention.
Yes.
Announces your arrival as the category king.
Whether it's a big product launch, a major industry event, or even hijacking an existing gathering like Sensity did.
Right.
The key is to generate that buzz and excitement.
Yeah.
Attract those customers.
Right.
And let your competitors know you've arrived.
But it doesn't stop there, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Creating the category is just the beginning.
That's right.
You have to nurture it.
Yeah.
Expand its potential and keep it relevant, right?
Absolutely. Just like Facebook expanded beyond college campuses to reach the entire world, you need to constantly evaluate your category.
Okay.
Find new applications for your solution.
Yeah.
Reach new audiences.
Right.
Stay ahead of the curve.
And that's where that category flywheel becomes crucial.
That's exactly right.
You need that system to keep the momentum going, that cycle of growth that feeds itself.
Precisely. More users lead to more data.
Right.
Leads to better algorithms, which attracts more users.
Okay.
Or more customers lead to more demand.
Right.
Which leads to more investment.
Yeah.
Which attracts even more customers. It's that virtuous cycle that can really propel a company to incredible heights.
But what about those companies that stumble, even after they've kind of achieved this category king status? We talked about Microsoft and their struggles with cloud computing and mobile. What lessons can we learn from their experience?
Well, Microsoft's story is a cautionary tale about the importance of staying agile.
Right.
And recognizing when your category's potential is starting to plateau. They were so dominant in PC software that they failed to recognize the shift towards cloud computing and mobile devices.
It's that classic innovator's dilemma.
It is.
You become so successful with one product or service that you fail to see the disruptive forces that are gathering on the horizon.
Exactly. And the book highlights this tension between those harvesters who focus on maximizing profits from those existing categories and the category creators
who are constantly looking for that next big thing.
Right. And it's those category creators who build the truly legendary companies, the ones that reshape industries and change the world.
They're not content with the status quo.
Right.
They're always looking for new problems to solve, new markets to conquer.
Companies like Amazon and Google, they exemplify this. They started with one category and then branched out into countless others. They just have this insatiable appetite for growth and innovation. It's almost like category creation is in their DNA.
And it's not just limited to tech companies, is it?
No, not at all.
Remember Manoj Bhargava, the creator of 5 Hour Energy?
Oh, that's a great example. He saw a missing in the market for a quick, convenient energy boost. That wasn't coffee or a sugary soda. And he basically created a whole new category with 5 Hour Energy.
Which brings us back to how individuals can apply these principles to their own careers. It's about becoming a category king in your own right.
That's right.
Defining your unique value. Establishing yourself as the go-to person for a specific skill or knowledge.
It's about thinking bigger than just landing a job or getting a promotion. It's about crafting your own personal category, a niche where you can excel and become indispensable.
And I love how the book even suggests treating your resume like a category design document.
It's a great idea.
It's about showcasing your skills and experience in a way that really differentiates you from everyone else.
Right. It's about framing your accomplishments in a way that resonates with your target audience. Show them you understand their challenges and that you can offer real solutions.
So it's not just about listing your skills. It's about telling a story. About painting a picture of who you are and what you bring to the table.
You're creating a personal brand. That makes you stand out from the crowd.
And remember those career-defining moments we talked about earlier? They're crucial for individuals as well.
They are.
Whether it's speaking at a conference, publishing an article, or launching a successful side project. It's about being proactive, taking ownership of your career.
It's about creating those opportunities to showcase your expertise, your passion, to show the world what you're capable of.
And having a strong network, your own personal ecosystem of supporters and collaborators.
Absolutely.
That can make all the difference.
It can.
Surrounding yourself with people who believe in your vision and are willing to champion your cause. It's incredibly powerful.
It is.
It's about building those relationships, fostering trust, creating that community around your personal brand.
This is all so empowering.
It is.
It's like we're being handed the keys to the kingdom.
The
tools to create our own destinies, both professionally and personally.
And one of the most important pieces of advice the book offers is to hire people who understand category design. Look for individuals who can see the big picture, who are passionate about building something new and different, who can think beyond their specific roles.
Because category design isn't just a framework for companies. It's a mindset, a way of approaching the world with curiosity, creativity. and a desire to make a real impact.
And it's that mindset that will drive the next generation of category kings, the individuals in the companies who are going to shape the future and leave their mark on the world.
But even with the best mindset and strategies in place, large corporations often face unique challenges when it comes to category creation. They're not as nimble as startups. They have established processes and hierarchies that can stifle innovation. They often have a fear of cannibalizing their existing products or services.
It's true. It's often said that big companies are like those lumbering giants. Slow to adapt, resistant to change. But play bigger doesn't just point out the problems. It offers solutions, too.
It does.
It delves into those dynamics that can hold companies back and provide strategies for overcoming those challenges.
The authors talk about the gravitational pull that can drag companies back to their comfort zones, even when they know they need to innovate. It's that tendency to focus on incremental improvements rather than making those bold leaps into uncharted territory.
It's like playing it safe, sticking with what you know, even when the world is changing all around you. But the book highlights companies like Corning, who have managed to build this culture of continuous category creation. What's their secret? How do they keep innovating, even though they're this large established company?
They've developed systems that encourage employees to take risks, to challenge the status quo, to come up with new ideas. And they've cultivated these close relationships with key customers, like Apple, who provide valuable market insights and help them identify emerging opportunities.
That's a really smart strategy.
It is.
You know, by working closely with their customers, they're able to stay ahead of the curve and anticipate what the market will want next.
But even for companies like Corning, who seem to have figured out the innovation puzzle, managing a portfolio of different categories can be incredibly complex.
Oh, yeah, it's super complex.
You have mature categories that need to be carefully managed to maximize profits. You have growing categories that need continued investment and attention. And then you have those emerging categories that require a completely different approach.
It's like juggling multiple balls in the air.
It is.
Each with its own unique set of challenges.
Exactly.
It requires a deep understanding of how categories work, a willingness to adapt and evolve your strategies as needed, and a commitment to continuous learning and experimentation. And then there are those companies that seem to defy all the odds. The ones that not only create and dominate their initial categories, but also continually create new ones, pushing the boundaries of what's possible and shaping the future as we know it.
The Apples, the Amazons, the Googles of the world. These companies have not only achieved incredible success, but they've also managed to cultivate a culture of innovation that seems to defy the traditional constraints of large organizations.
Apple under Steve Jobs, I mean, they redefined categories. They're like digital music, smartphones, tablets, setting a new standard for user experience and design.
Amazon, starting with online book sales, has expanded its empire to encompass practically every corner of retail, from groceries to cloud computing services. And then there's Google, starting with search, which has become such an indispensable part of our lives. With products and services that span advertising, mobile operating systems mapping, and so much more.
It's truly remarkable to witness their trajectory.
It is.
But the question that lingers is, can they sustain this remarkable run of category creation, or was it intrinsically tied to the visionary leadership of individuals like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, the founders of Google?
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
Only time will tell if they can continue this pace of innovation. Without the guiding hand of those iconic leaders.
But they've built those powerful flywheels.
They have.
They've fostered those cultures of innovation. And they've established themselves as those category creation machines. They haven't just built better products. They've created entirely new categories that meet real needs and solve real problems.
That's the essence of category design. It's about thinking bigger, being bolder, and having the courage to create something truly new and valuable.
And as we've seen throughout this deep dive, it's a framework that can be applied not just to companies, but to individuals as well.
The power to create and dominate a new category is within reach for anyone who's willing to embrace the principles of play bigger.
Right.
It starts with a bold vision, a strategic plan, and an unwavering commitment to making it happen.
And remember, it's not just about building a better mousetrap. Right.
It's about building a category that makes that mousetrap indispensable.
Exactly.
So go out there, find your missing, and build something truly remarkable.
Now let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And delve into how individuals can specifically leverage these category king principles to achieve success in their careers.
We've spent a lot of time talking about companies, building these categories.
Right.
But what about building a category of one? Can you really apply these category king principles to your own career?
Absolutely. One of the most exciting parts of the book is that Play Bigger argues that anyone can become a category king in their own right.
Okay.
It's about crafting that unique value proposition and becoming the go-to expert in a very specific area.
It's like creating your own personal brand, but with this added layer of strategy and category design thinking.
Yeah.
Where do you even begin with something like that?
Well, it starts with identifying your target audience.
Just like a company.
Yeah.
You need to figure out which companies or industries you want to work for. And then you craft a narrative that showcases why you are the perfect solution to their needs.
So instead of just listing skills on a resume, you're really thinking about how to frame your experience to demonstrate real value.
That's right. It's about going beyond the bullet points and showing a deep understanding of their challenges and how you can help solve them.
Right.
The book even suggests thinking of your resume as a category design document for your career.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about painting a picture, telling a story.
Exactly.
Not just listing facts.
Right.
And I remember we talked about those career-defining moments for companies.
Yeah.
Did those apply to individuals too?
They absolutely do. Just like companies use lightning strikes to make a splash.
Right.
Individuals can create their own defining moments. It could be speaking at a conference, publishing an article, or even launching a successful side project.
It's about proactively taking control of your career.
Right.
And finding ways to demonstrate your expertise and passion.
Exactly.
So it's not just about doing the work. It's about showcasing the work.
That's right. And building a strong network, your own personal ecosystem, is critical.
Right.
You need mentors, collaborators, supporters who can help amplify your message and open doors to new opportunities.
This is all starting to feel very strategic.
Yeah.
It's like you're building a business, but the business is you.
That's a great way to put it.
And just like companies need to expand their category's potential, individuals need to constantly learn and evolve to stay relevant.
Absolutely.
That means embracing new technologies, expanding your skill set, and adapting to the changing demands of the market.
That's right.
So it's not just about reaching a certain level. It's about constantly pushing yourself to grow and learn.
Yeah.
It's about building a career that's dynamic and sustainable over the long term.
It's like that concept of the flywheel for your career.
Exactly. And the authors themselves are a great example of how individuals can become category kings.
Right.
They didn't just write a book about category design.
Yeah.
They used category design principles to write and launch the book itself.
That's a great point.
That's so meta. It's like they're living proof that these principles actually work.
They saw a need in the market for a clear, actionable framework for category creation.
Right.
They crafted a compelling POV.
Yeah.
They mobilized their network. And they executed a strategic launch to capture attention.
Okay.
And establish themselves as experts in the field.
It's inspiring to see those concepts applied so effectively in the real world.
It is.
And that's exactly the message the book leaves us with.
Yeah.
It's a challenge to go out there and find our own missing.
Right.
And build something truly remarkable.
It's a call to action, to think like category kings. To look for those opportunities to make a real difference.
Right.
To build something that matters.
Whether you're starting a business, leading a team, or pursuing your own career aspirations, the principles of category design can be a powerful guide.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of category kings, let's take a moment to reflect on those key takeaways.
Okay.
First, remember that success isn't just about building a better product or being the best.
Right.
It's about creating and dominating a new category.
That's right.
It's about being different, not just better.
Exactly.
Second, Crafting a compelling point of view is crucial.
Mhm.
It's the narrative that explains the problem, the solution,
Right.
and why your approach is unique and valuable.
Yeah.
It's the story that's going to capture hearts and minds.
It is.
Third, mobilizing your resources for a focused lightning strike is essential for capturing attention and announcing your arrival as a category king.
Right.
Whether it's a product launch, a marketing campaign, or a strategic partnership, it's about making that big splash, standing out from the crowd.
Fourth, remember the power of the category flywheel.
Right.
Building a system where different parts of your strategy reinforce each other will create momentum for continued growth and dominance.
And finally, remember that these principles apply to individuals as well as companies.
Right.
You can become a category king in your own right by crafting that unique value proposition, building a strong network, and constantly pushing yourself to learn and evolve.
So think about the problems you see in your own life, your work, your community.
Yeah.
What missing are you uniquely positioned to solve?
Right.
What will your category be?
The power to create something truly remarkable is within your grasp.
It is.
Go out there and make it happen.
That's right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening.